corporate power and the future of environmental policy. Corporate involvement in environmental policy has shifted far beyond boardrooms and lobbying corridors. Academic studies spanning decades show a systematic pattern. Industries with the most at stake often influence not only regulators, but also the wider ecosystem of institutions that shape environmental decisions. The 2010 Deepwater Horizon disaster remains a sobering case study. Investigations revealed that regulators had relied heavily on industry-provided data and maintained overly close ties with oil companies, failures that contributed to one of the largest marine oil spills in history. This is the risk of regulatory capture. Oversight bodies becoming aligned with the interests of the very industries they are supposed to police. Beyond regulators, influence across institutions. Today, influence strategies stretch well beyond government agencies. Universities, professional associations, museums, and even NGOs face pressure from corporate funding and sponsorships that can steer agendas in subtle but powerful ways. Academic partnerships under scrutiny. Shrinking public budgets make corporate partnerships appealing. Cases of so-called fracademia highlight how fossil fuel funding can raise questions about the independence of environmental research. Cultural credibility at stake. Science museums and educational institutions accepting sponsorships from fossil fuel companies have faced criticism, with some cutting ties after public pushback. Professional networks shaped by sponsorship. Industry-backed conferences sometimes sideline uncomfortable discussions, as seen in the pesticide sector, where industry representation outweighs coverage of health risks. NGOs walking a fine line. When advocacy organizations depend heavily on corporate contributions, they risk compromising missions built around environmental accountability. This trend extends into the digital and cultural sphere. Corporate actors increasingly leverage media partnerships, social platforms, and even film narratives to normalize climate denial or soften public perception of environmentally harmful practices. The result is not just influence over policy, but over culture itself, building resilience against corporate capture. For organizations navigating this landscape, independence requires deliberate strategy. Traditional conflict of interest policies are not enough. Financial transparency as a baseline, clear disclosure of funding sources and partnerships helps safeguard institutional credibility and gives stakeholders the context they need to assess potential bias. Governance frameworks that anticipate conflicts. Strong editorial, research, and governance safeguards can prevent partnerships from steering organizational direction. Critical education as a long-term defense. Embedding media literacy and corporate influence awareness into curricula can prepare the next generation of decision-makers to recognize and resist inappropriate pressure. Ultimately, defending against corporate capture is about more than reputation. It's about ensuring society can respond effectively to urgent challenges such as climate change, biodiversity loss, and pollution. The balance between collaboration and independence will determine whether institutions serve public interest or corporate agendas.